Hi folks, hello, welcome back to the Wholly Irregular ECY Shedcast. There's a reason it's called Wholly Irregular. Thank you for bearing with us over the past few months. If you've been waiting for a new episode, you've been waiting quite a long time. Things have just been really busy around here, and in all honesty I've not been in the right headspace for recording a Shedcast. That's all I can really say about it. There's nothing complicated, nothing weird. I just haven't felt like it. So yeah, we're back. It's really good to be back as well. It's really, really good. I'm excited to show you today's updates. If you can hear the patter of tiny feet, that's a certain small dog. Hey, Ebbs. Oh, big stretch. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, that's very distracting. Would you like to say hello? Let me see if I can. Come here, Tony. Come. Oh, there we go. There we go. There she is. Yeah. Hey. You can just about see her. Ebbs, what's this? There you go. Hey, darling. She'll jump off as soon as I let her, won't you? Hey? So Ebony says hi. Hey? You gonna jump off then? Yeah. On you go. That's it. She's wandering off now. Done here. Bored. Bye. Anyway, where were we? Yarn. Let's do what we're here for. Hey? So there's quite a few exciting things. Well, there's loads of exciting things happening here. There always are, aren't there? So I'm just going to tell you about the absolute latest stuff. Because if I try and go over everything that's been happening over the past few months, we will be here all day. And even if I just tell you about everything that's happened this week, it's going to take a really long time. So I'm just going to I'm going to try and stick to the few main things. Okay, so first things first, Moorit magazine. Ta-da! Now this is a crochet magazine. This is issue 1, which was released 2 days ago. It was crowdfunded originally, and it's just beautiful. If you've ever had Lane magazine, this is the sort of styling. It's more like a book, to be honest. And you've got all the pictures to begin with. Then you've got sort of articles and stuff like that, and then you've got the patterns towards the back. So that's Moorit. Now, why am I telling you about that, other than the fact that it's a gorgeous new magazine? This is our yarn. It's Whitfell Chunky in Sand. Ooh, sorry if I've got my phone plugged in and the wire's stretching across the table where all the yarn is. So if the phone moves a little bit, I am sorry. I'll try not to move it. So this is Whitfell Chunky in Sand, which is what's on the front cover. How cool is that? It's such a great honour to be on the front cover of issue 1. I mean, you know, you can't ask for better than that. So Whitfell Chunky is pure baby alpaca. I hope you can see how deliciously soft that is. It is amazing. Honestly, it's just amazing. Baby alpaca is very, very fine. So it's kind of a little bit fluffy. And yeah, it's so snuggle. Excuse me. It's like I've just had a Kit Kat. So excuse me. It's just the ultimate in softness, really. So that's the baby alpaca in Sand. Let me see if I can just flick to the pattern page and show you a few more pictures. So it's a large, sort of oversized boxy jumper with very oversized sleeves which have a cable down the outer edge, and that cable is very much the feature of the piece. There you go. And oh yes, I love this picture. It's just like, that is the cozy epitomised, isn't it? And then you can see that the body is basically plain, but of course, like I say, the cables on the sleeves are really the features, so you would want a plain body, wouldn't you? And it just looks amazing. I love the styling. I find that really inspiring, and I love the outdoorsy kind of feel of it all. They don't just use female models as well. Let me have a look, it's nice. It's nice to just see some variety. So those socks are what's featured in this. It might not be that obvious from holding that up. And then again, you've got this vest here. So that's really nice to see. It's just so nice to see variety, isn't it? So yeah, so more right. So we're selling some copies of issue 1. We thought it made sense to stock some. We have a listing on the website for a sweater pack of this yarn. The idea is just so that you can pick your size, and it will bring up the correct number of skeins according to the pattern for the size that you need. And you get a sneaky little discount if you buy the sweater pack as well, compared to if you just bought it individually. So that's sand. We do also have Whitfeld Chunky in other colours, and I've pulled a couple out here just in case they inspire you. We've got Damson, and we've got Echinacea. I thought that they would look really nice as snuggly jumpers. There's also Coal and Tulip and Silhouette, but Coal is black, and I'm not convinced about having sort of a detailed stitch pattern with black yarn, much as I do love it. And then the other two, Silhouette is dark and it's a marl, and Tulip is fairly dark and that's also a marl. And I, again, can't really see, I mean, I might be wrong, but I can't really see a marl yarn working with those, the cables. I'm not sure that the stitch definition would be there with that. So yeah, check out the website for Morit and for the Whitfeld Chunky sweater packs. If you don't fancy baby alpaca though, what we have done is Pendle Chunky. Now, logistically, stocking a range of colours in Pendle Chunky for a project that goes, I mean, let me just see if I can find it, because the largest, let's have a look, the largest size in here, page, where are we? Oh, actually that's a really nice picture as well. Let's just have a check, because size 10, which is a bust circumference of 67.75 inches. Now that uses, or calls for, 1,785 yards, or 1630 in metres. Let me just double check the meterage on this. Now, yeah, so the meterage on this is 100 metres per skein. So you're looking at 17 skeins, right, for the largest size, or 8 for the smallest in the pattern. I could just tell you the smallest bust size is 30 inches, right? So how, logistically, could we possibly stock all of these hand-dyed colours of Pendle Chunky in dye lots where you're going to be able to choose anything from, what did I say, 8 to 17 skeins from a dye lot? You know, thinking about it, it's Oh, sorry, there was, oh God, someone's like screaming outside. It's just a logistical nightmare. So we decided that the best bet was to dye up one skein of each colour that like we felt that we could offer. I mean, there are many more, but this is just a start. Dye up one skein of each colour and then sell them as a pre-order so that your sweater quantity will be dyed to order, which means that you can get the right amount and it'll all be from one dye lot, but we're not also sat on tons of stock worrying about it. So if you go on the website you go in the Pendle Chunky category, that's probably your best bet at the moment because we've moved things about. Yeah, probably the Pendle Chunky category. You will see a pre-order for sweater quantity of Pendle Chunky. I think it's got a Cumulo sweater in the listing title, and you can choose your colour, you can choose your size, and in the listing we've got written out the sizes and how many skeins that equates to, and we will dye it for you. Now our turnaround time is fairly quick at the moment because we're back on sort of like full staff. I am working in the dye shed. I'm starting to think that I might possibly have overdone it this week because I had foot surgery, for those who don't know, nearly 6 weeks ago, and it's quite a challenge recovering from it. So anyway, point being, I am dyeing. So I'll just really quickly show you the colours that we picked out. We have Blue Geranium, Mill Pond, Antique Rose, Stone Chat, Linen, Slate, Stone, Bark, Sand, Coppice, Charcoal, and Silver Birch. So I tried to pick out like a good range of colours, a good choice, but also ones that I felt would show off the stitches well. And Pendle Chunky is 100% superwash extra fine merino. It is very, very smooshy and squidgy and lovely. So if you would like a sweater quantity of Pendle Chunky, in all honesty, it doesn't have to be for this jumper. We'd be, you know, we're not monitoring what you make unless you want to share it with us. So if you want a sweater quantity of Pendle Chunky dyed up for you in any of those colours, now is your chance. Or if there's a colour that you don't see here that you would like, pop us an email and ask about it and we'll see if we can do that. So yeah, and again, with it being a sweater quantity, oh God, sorry, I'm trying to like tidy up, but also moving the cable, charging my phone, sorry. Where was I? So Pendle Chunky, okay, right, that's that. Let's move on. The other really, well, oh no, what should I tell you about next? Okay, I know. Let's do the new colour of Milburn 4-ply. I'm sure most of you will have seen this by now. This is Azalea. And in fact, no I don't because I killed it this summer. I had a lovely little azalea in the garden which had variegated petals, which was sort of, they were like this colour, pale pink with darker edges. I don't have anything similar. And the idea is that it's a bit more zingy than the Althea, which is the other sort of pink. And then you've got Bramble as well, which is darker. So I just wanted something a little bit light and bright and breezy. It does go with lots of other colours. I haven't brought them out with me because I've got so much else to tell you about. But if you go on Flickr, search Eden Cottage Yarns, We have loads and loads of albums, which I know I constantly bang on about, but it's such a great resource. And there's a Milburn 4-ply album, and you can see colour combinations, and you can see what I've done with this. So you've got things like your neutrals, like steel, charcoal, natural, rain. Rain is a really nice, is silver, so it's kind of a nice contrast. And then you've got things like black tulip, which of course goes with everything. That's the kind of aubergine shade. You've got the other pinks. There's compost. I really like brown and pink. I know not everybody does. So there's plenty to go at, but check it out on Flickr if you're not sure about colours. So that was exciting, getting a new Milburn 4-ply. It was meant to arrive actually in spring, but thanks to the everlasting joy that is Brexit, it only arrived a few weeks ago. So not quite the right season, you know, if you kind of look at traditional colours for seasons, but never mind. It'll still be around next spring. So there we go. So that's the Milburn 4-ply. And what else do we have? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next, like, properly big thing, which is that this week we had our first big update following my quite a long time off for surgery. So it's felt really exciting to me because I've had to have such a long time off. It's been like 4 weeks, which might not sound a lot, but I've never done that before. You know, in 10 years, I've barely taken any time off ill. And if it was, it's never been for more than a few days. So that was absolutely huge for me. I sort of carried on doing, you know, admin and like blog posts and all sorts of things on my laptop. But to be incapacitated is very, very unusual. So this was sat waiting for quite a few weeks actually. And I think I was hoping to get it done and photographed before I had to stop, and I didn't. So it's Bowland 4-ply, which is superwash British Blueface Leicester wool. Blueface Leicester is a luster breed, which means that it has long, fine, silky fibres, which gives it good drape and softness, and a really good gentle shine. Just see if the camera will focus on that. I'm not sure that it will, it's probably too close. Anyway, hopefully you can see that really nicely. It's nice and bright and sunny today, so hopefully you catch the light on that. So yeah, Bowland 4-ply. Big update, there were 20 colours. I can't quite show you all of them because at least one has completely sold out, but I can show you what we have got. So let's start with the neutrals. I tried to do a really good range. I always try and do a really good range, but it's really hard to choose which colours to include in an update. So we've got charcoal and compost, and then we've going slightly lighter, we've got ash. I'm just going to try and hold those there. And then we have bark, and then driftwood. Oh, that's a bit precarious. And then we have linen, which is sort of pearly, lovely pearly cream. There we go. So that's the neutrals. I like to include these because I feel like they frame and show off the other colours. I think there's a huge value to doing lots of neutral colours. I mean, they're beautiful in their own right as well, so that helps. So that's those. Let's take a look at the pinks. Firstly, we have lovely dusky meadow rue, which if if you're a long time viewer, you'll know that I'm a bit obsessed with this colour. I just love how kind of like slightly murky it is. Anyway, so that's Meadow Rue. And then we have Stone Crop, which it is a tiny bit pink. It definitely is a tiny bit pink. I don't know how obvious that is on screen, but it is definitely a tiny bit pink. So the Bowland the Bowland 4-ply, well, all of it, fibre, the Blueface Ester fibre, it takes the colours a little bit differently to some of the other yarns. They all differ, that's part of the joy of it. But you'll see in a minute with another colour that I'm going to show you what I mean. That's Azalea. So that's the hand-dyed version of the Milburn. And as you can see, the dyer, I think he's called David, who does the Milburn, has done a really good job. I mean, this isn't the skein that I sent him to match. I've sent him a different sample to match based on my dyeing. There was quite a lot of back and forth with this one actually, because I really wanted to make sure that it wasn't insipid or like sugary pink kind of thing. So he's done a really amazing job in managing to pin down the exact shade. Anyway, so that's the hand-dyed version. And then for another pink here, we have Azalea, which is much more reddish, as you can see. So those are the pinks. Yeah, just double check I've got them all. And then we have Apricot Tulip and Cloudberry. So they're the kind of fruity shades, oranges, I suppose. Okay, and then this is the one that I was saying about. This is Fen. Now, if you've seen this colour before, you will know that this usually looks kind of basically green. And I mean, look at it on the Blueface Leicester, it looks much more yellowy. So it's quite a big difference. It's quite a marked difference. Normally, it's like a browny, yellowy green. It is this pale, but on this, it's more like a straw yellowy kind of thing. So I've put that there in the palette. And then let's take a look at the greens. So for greens, firstly, a proper actual green, Ivy. Now this is a new colour. It's very similar to Larch, which I did also do, but is sold out. And Larch is like a proper green. It's more saturated than this. And I wanted something similar, but slightly kind of muted and greyish. So it's taken quite a bit of tweaking, to be honest, but I think I've got there and I'm very happy with how it's come out. I like how sort of stonewashed it looks. So that's Ivy. And actually, you can see, compared to the Pendle Chunky and Compass, you can see how much more greyish the Ivy is. That's a lot more of a greeny green. But both nice and sort of subtle and earthy. Then we have Waterfall. Oh, this is a new one as well, actually. This is Waterfall. So this is, it's a proper turquoisey green. I do have Robin Egg, which is a greyish, light turquoisey green. But I wanted something just that little bit more saturated. So that's where that's come from. And then following on from that, we have Sea Spray, which I would say is a proper turquoise. And it's kind of, that is quite kind of icy, quite zingy. I'll show you, that's it compared to Waterfall. That's Waterfall. And then I'll put Ivy here too. So there you go. You can see that that's that bit more blue. So yeah, those are the, I say greens, turquoisey kind of shades. We then have blues. So we've got Bluebell, which is obviously powdery purpley blue. We have Pennine Mist, which is the greyish denim blue. And then finally, I have Thunder, which is the greyish purple. So, I mean, lots of these are absolute ECY classics, and just put that back, there we go. And I know that I know I've been doing them for years and years, but I just never get bored of them. I just still think that they're really beautiful, and I still think that they look fresh, and I think that they're timeless. And I know that I'm really biased, but I genuinely really do think that they're timeless classics. You know, the stuff that I'm making from my yarn, honestly, I'm still wearing it like 10 years later, and I know I'm not like the most stylish person in the world, but I still think it all looks really good. So this is why I continue to do these tonal colours with the semi-solids, just the really subtle, you can see it from this, the really subtle kind of tonal shading that you get. I just don't think you can beat it. I do love variegated yarns, I love speckles, I love, all of that. I honestly really do. But for me, my bread and butter is the semi-solids, and I'm happy to stick with that. It might not be fashionable, but I feel like that's my speciality, and it's taken me quite a long time to just kind of accept that I'm best doing what I do best, if that makes sense. Just, let the cool kids do the cool stuff. This is me. So anyway, that's where we're at. Right, so again, colour combinations for this lot. There is a lot to go at here. Again, check out Flickr. Please, honestly, really do check out Flickr, because we have a album for this update specifically, and I photograph loads of colour combinations for it. So, and Laura's been through and written all the names, the colour names as well, so that you can. Yes, it will record. My phone just kindly cut me off again. Hopefully I can edit the two together seamlessly. Wouldn't that be amazing? Really gonna have to improve on my video YouTube skills. Sorry about that if you noticed an interruption. Where were we? I was saying about, just make sure that's still recording. Yes, it is. I was talking about Flickr and colour combinations, wasn't I? I don't even know where to start. It's overwhelming. So let's pick out, say, this azalea. Let's have a look at what it goes with. So you have charcoal. I mean, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And then ash. So I really like the idea of a whole bunch of neutrals and then one popping colour. So you could do those. Needs another lighter colour in that. Do I want bark? Yeah, I think I do. Yeah. Obviously you have this wonderful colour which goes with everything. Linen. There we go. It's cream, yes, but it's not quite the undyed. The undyed is a bit brighter and a bit whiter, whereas this is much more it's just got that softness to it and that pearly. It's got a bit of warmth to it as well, actually, which I think is really nice. Kind of makes me think of sunshine. Sorry, that's really cliched, but it does. So honestly, like, I might as well just keep linen out because it obviously goes with everything. I tell you what, I do really particularly like it with, and that's with Thunder. because I think the warmth of the linen just lends itself so beautifully to thunder. So let's have a look at what we could add to that lot. Ooh, what about that? Meadow Rue. There's quite a sort of classic combination. What about a little bit of grey again? Oh yes, I like that. What if we take that out? Let's see. Oh, compost. Oh yes. Stone crop. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that works. That allows the thunder to kind of pop. What about thunder and ivy? Ooh, that's a bit different, isn't it? I like that. What about thunder, ivy, and let's have a bit of pink. Yeah. So, I mean, I really love pink and green. So you could have like those three. Now that, to me, wants a highlight adding. Right, let's not pick linen because I pick linen all the time. Let's try driftwood. That's really nice. I like that. That's earthy. I know that's a word that I use a lot, but it drives a lot of my colours and choices. So, and then that's linen. You can see how it really brightens everything up. And then again, ooh, fen. That works nicely because this sort of brings out that hint of green in the fen, and that works really nicely with these two as well. So I like those. Right, let's put those away for now. Let's take a look at Bluebell. Okay, now obviously we've got the neutrals, and again obviously we have linen, Bluebell and linen. Yes. Oh, how about, here's a slightly different one. How about, yes, I like this, Bluebell with dianthus. I really like that. I mean, it's basically blue and red, but I kind of feel like it's a bit of a twist on the usual blue and red. Or you could try the Bluebell with azalea. And then that's how it compares there. I don't even know which one I like best of those. That's difficult to decide. Cloudberry. Let's pick out that. Now, I adore orange and grey. I absolutely love orange and grey. Oh, I just think that is delicious. Again, you've got the obvious one, linen. Those three are really nice together. Oh yes, I do like that. Let's have a look what else we've got that might work with Cloudberry. You could go dianthus. I wonder if stone crop would work. I think it does. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if the stone crop's a bit too pink. Although, if I'm saying that, I could also try the driftwood. Not sure. Yeah? No? If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to know. I think it does. That does work, doesn't it? Does it? Let me know. Ooh. What about Cloudberry? Oh yes, Cloudberry and Thunder. Why haven't I spotted that one before? Okay. If we're doing that, okay, maybe not as nice as the Thunder, but what about the Bluebell? Oh yes, that's growing on me actually. See, Cloudberry, it used to be a lot more yellowy than this actually, but as I've mentioned in previous episodes, I've just got endless problems with the dyes changing colour. I order them because I order them in bulk. I don't order them that often, so it can end up being like basically every time I order them, at least one has changed colour, because they are also literally a different dye lot. And if it's a mix, and like even the red, it's not just a plain red. Well, it seemingly isn't, because that slightly changes every time as well. So that's why things like this can end up changing. In fact, I didn't realise until somebody pointed it out that this used to be quite a lot more yellowy. But I like it as it is, and you know, you get to the point where you just have to accept that it's hand-dyed yarn and it's going to change from time to time. I've wasted an insane amount of time trying to match my recipes now to like how they've always been, you know, just for consistency. And it's something that I'm keen to do, but honestly I've just wasted so much time doing it. You can see it quite clearly with bark actually. This is bark now, right? Let's take a look at this sample, which I haven't actually shown you yet. That's what bark used to look like from a few years ago. Look how the difference. Just, you get to the point where you just have to stop trying to match it and just accept it's changed over the years. You know, I just can't waste any more resources on it. Anyway, Cloudberry. Let's just move away from Cloudberry and take a look at Apricot Tulip. So those are the two together again. That's the Cloudberry. This is the Apricot Tulip. Now, let's try that with Thunder. Oh yes. And then for comparison, oh, that could be a really tough choice. I suppose you'd have to decide whether you prefer the Cloudberry or Apricot Tulip, then put the Thunder with it. So, Apricot Tulip. Obviously, linen, beautiful. Let's just take a look at Bluebell with that one. Yeah, there you go. Just gorgeous, screams summer to me. With compost. Yes. Yeah, and with the Cloudberry as well. But yes, I really like those two together. Again, you've got ash, sort of all your neutrals, maybe lift the palette. I wonder if Stone Copper would work with that one. Oh yes. Oh, that's the stuff. That's the money right there. Bang on. Well, you might disagree. That's kind of the point of this though, isn't it? I mean, you know, we all like different things, don't we? What else have we got? I can't remember what I've done now, where I was. Sea spray. I'm not sure whether I've done this. Compost. The thing is, I actually recorded this whole shed cast initially yesterday, and my phone crashed right towards the end and lost the whole thing. So, I mean, I'm hoping it hasn't done with this. So I kind of feel like I've already done all this, but it's because I did it yesterday as well. Don't ask. That's sea spray and compost. Now I love turquoise and brown together. Let's just compare Waterfall. There you go. Oh, gorgeous. Where were we? Sea spray. I mean, it's a relatively difficult colour to blend with other colours actually. Oh, but with grey. Oh, yes. Gorgeous. Does it go with, what else does it go with? Nope. Nope. That was Meadow Rue. Pennine Mist. Do you know what? I was expecting to immediately say no. I reckon you could use those two together, but with something else. It needs something else. I actually can see those working really well in a project together. So that's Pennine Mist and linen, of course. What else have we got? I'm just looking around. I've got this whole table full of stuff. I mean, this is chunky, obviously, but so that's silver birch. So if we had that on a different base, you could use it with this. That's nice. That's really nice. And charcoal. Have we done charcoal? Charcoal. I'm just wondering if there's anything in this basket that looks really good. Let's take a look at it with thunder. That's what I'm just looking at. That's it with thunder. Yeah, I think that works. What do you think? So then let's compare it to waterfall, because obviously that's softer and more subtle. That's the two together. So waterfall with thunder. I actually think I prefer the sea spray. That's the sea spray. And that's the waterfall. I suppose with these two, yes, but with something else, maybe. Sort of like that. Oh, what about compost? That's nice. You might want something light to highlight it. Just try not to wobble the camera there. So, whew, that's a lot to think about there, isn't it? That really is a lot. I mean, that's not even all of it. Pennine Mist. Oh, I'll tell you what though. Pennine Mist now with bark. Oh yes. Or driftwood. Oh yeah. Yep. I like those two. Would I put anything else? Yeah, I mean, you definitely could. Obviously, you could add in the rest of the neutrals. Like Pennine Mist with compost is just gorgeous. So you could go for like the whole lot, you know, all the neutrals plus the Pennine Mist. You could add in the Meadow Rue for like a proper stone washed look. I think that's really lovely. So yeah, that's a lot to think about. I can't even remember. I've totally lost the plot of what I've done now. That's Azalea and Dianthus. Apologies if I've already been through these two. So I'm sure I've already said charcoal, ash, or both, of course. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm gonna stop there because there's just so much to go at, and that's only with 19 colours, which actually once we got this lot on the website and you scroll through, it doesn't even seem that many, but it is. It just doesn't look a lot when you see it all on screen. Oh, I'll tell you what, that reminds me. So when you look on the Bowland 4-ply category on the website, we've put yarn packs up on there as well. So the yarn packs that are all Bowland 4-ply, they're in that category. So if you are struggling to decide and you just like, do you know what, I just want to buy one of these packs instead, and then I don't have to worry about what I'm putting together, hopefully they will be really helpful for that. Tell you what, I'll just show you how it knits and crochets up before I quickly move on. So this is Tiny Shoots by Kate Heppel. If you can just see, Kate is the editor of Knit Now, so you might have heard of her. We've been friends for a very, very long time, since before Knit Now and before Eden Cottage Yarns. And so she designed this in, I think it was... Will my phone allow any more yarn chat, or is it going to cut us off again? I think we might be good to finish up this episode. Okay, gonna get on, because otherwise it'll just stop again. I think it thinks that it's running out of storage. I've just been in and offloaded a whole load of data from the apps, and oh god, what a faff. technology, it's amazing when it works and it's really annoying when it doesn't. I was just telling you about how Boland 4-ply knits and crochets up, wasn't I? So this is Tiny Shoots by Kate Heppel, which I've made very recently. It's made in pieces, and then it's got a 3 needle bind off, I think it was, along the shoulders and set in sleeves. I am composing a blog post all about this where I'm sharing, sorry that's the dog, sharing resources that I used on doing the set-in sleeves and just other information that you might find helpful. So I won't go on about that here, but once the blog post is ready, then check that out if you're interested, because I found a great tutorial on doing set-in sleeves. I can't even remember who it was by now. So in crochet, we have, this is Mist Kingfisher by the Crochet Project. That was in colourways Robin Egg and Bark. So like I was saying before, you can see how the bark has changed. And then Robin Egg is this soft Robin Egg turquoise. So it crochets beautifully. It has good drape, good stitch definition actually as well, which you can also see in this. This is Semille by Orsa Tricosa. So this is just one skein. This colourway is Algae, which I haven't done for absolutely ages, and I really should, because it's gorgeous. That lace edging is very cool, isn't it? And then this isn't all of them, but this is just the ones that I could find easily. This is one of my many machine knitted boxy jumpers. And this pale pink stripe is Boland 4-ply. And it's fine, it's soft, it's lovely. It's got a decent amount of structure though as well, which is good because its neighbours, well, this top neighbour is Brimham High Twist, which is a very structured yarn. And then below it is Keld Fingering, which is the Merino Linen. Then below that we've got Keswick Fingering, which is the tweed, and Nape 4-ply, which is sparkly, silver sparkly sock yarn. So that's that lot together. Oh, and this is Rosedale 4-ply, which is the gold sparkly yarn. So yeah, the Boland 4-ply fits in really well there. Obviously it does also work, it plays really nicely with Milburn 4-ply as well. Milburn, you know, it's the same Blueface Leicester, but the Milburn's got the silk in, so the two work really well together. So if you're missing a colour from the Boland palette, you could definitely take a look at the Milburn palette to go with that. Okay, quick other things. We've got quite a few pattern releases happening this week using our yarn. One of them is a pair of socks whose name I should have looked up before I came on the podcast, by Liz Cork, but if you look her up you will definitely see them because they're bright red socks. She used Brimham 4-ply in Appledorn Tulip. It's Appledorn, it's not Appledorn as in English Appledorn, it's as in a type of tulip, which is, and it's spelt Apeldoorn, not Appledorn, you know what I mean. So this is Appledorn Tulip. Now, Brimham 4-ply we can't currently get hold of. It's stuck in a port and has been for about 8 months trying to come into the UK, so that's loads of fun. And stocks have run out, so we can't get any more until that arrives. So I've done Brimham High Twist instead. It's the same fibre but high twist yarn, because I do luckily have that. So yeah, Brexit, that's just like I could ramble about that for an entire podcast. So yeah, pattern releases. There's also the Orford Cowl, which is ORFORD, by Sophie McCain, Unicorn Knit Design. and it's a beautiful lace cowl, and she's used 5 mini skeins of Silverdale 4-ply in a little a gradient, so that looks really cool. But of course you could use one colour for it. So that's another pattern that's been released, and I think there's another pair of socks actually that I was tagged in on Instagram. Yes, also yesterday. All 3 were yesterday. So yeah, I've got loads going on. There's tons of yarn and updates in progress at the moment. I've actually got a bottleneck of updates waiting to be photographed because I've been off so long. I've not, and the one thing I really haven't been able to do is the photography, because even once I'm back on my feet, I'm still also then waiting for cloudy weather. So yeah, I'll tell you what's coming next though. Bowline double knit is imminent. That should be early next week, I really hope. Then we have a brand new yarn base, which I'm going to keep a secret a bit longer. If you're in the ECY garden, you may have heard talk of it. It's an autumnal yarn and it's kind of rustic, but it's still really, really soft and lovely. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anymore. That is going to debut with a massive update. It's really exciting. So we've got Bowline double knit, then new yarn. Other things in progress, we're looking at Rosedale 4-ply, which is the sparkly gold, and Coniston fingering, which is the merino mohair singles, all upcoming. There's loads that I want to do. You know, I want to do all the Aran yarns, I want to do more chunky. There's loads that I want to do. Unfortunately, there is also loads not currently available because it can't be shipped into the country, or, well, isn't being. So yeah, just know that we've got tons on the way for you. Finally, let's finish on what is in my project bag this week. Well, the first thing is I am reading this, which Claire has kindly lent me. I actually should have just bought a copy, but anyway, she turned up with this in hand, which is very convenient. So that's Blue Stockings by Kate Davies. It's very interesting. Again, smells nice, like more it does. Oh yeah, can't beat a good smelling book. Very interesting, highly recommended. And I am, let's not wobble the camera too much, knitting. Now I've just finished a big sort of kind of complicated sample in the new yarn, so I'm not going to show you that right now, but I'm currently now knitting. So this is Pim's Cup, which is a hat pattern from our Drift collection, which was published in 2015, I think it was. Yeah, it was, because Bletchley was 2014. There you go. So this is Pim's Cup, and I am using Pendle double knit, which is 100% superwash extra fine merino, and it has been revamped this year by our supplier, so it's now softer and squidgier than ever, which meant obviously I needed a whole new sample in it. So yeah, I do have a few Pim's Cup hats actually in the sample cupboard, but you know, who doesn't need more hand knit hats? Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got a crocheted one in Titus double knit that I could have shown you. Anyway, maybe next time, because I'm keeping my eye on the clock because I'm worried about my phone cutting me off again. And then finally, let's just finish on upcoming projects, because this one has been all over social media. This is what I have chosen for the Stephen West mystery knit along. I don't normally do mystery knit alongs, so this is going to be a whole new experience. But the nice thing is that both Debbie and Claire are doing it too, and a lot of members of our Facebook group are doing it as well. So I'm looking forward to that, because it's going to feel like a real little kind of group project. And of course, they're all going to look completely different. We've no idea what they'll look like. So I mean, I hope I like it, but then that's the point, isn't it? So this is Oak with 4-Ply hot chocolate, which is sort of the mix of creams and browns. That's to lighten and lift the palette because the rest are all quite dark. And we have Pendle 4-Ply plum. These are all out of my stash, by the way, so they're probably not in stock. But maybe it will be again in future if you like them. Keld fingering in chestnut. Also Keld fingering in woodland. Possibly my favourite green ever. I wear it quite a lot. And Coniston fingering, which has got the mohair, in thunder. So I shall get those wound up. We've got another week before it starts. So, but I'm not going to change my mind over colours. It took long enough to decide in the first place. So I shall get those wound up, and then who knows, we might have cast on by the time I next record. I'd love to be doing it. This is a weekly podcast, to be honest. Shedcast. But that's, for me, that's quite a big ask. So we shall see. Hopefully next time I see you, well, it would be a spoiler though, wouldn't it? We'll see. Let's not make any promises, eh? So I'd better go because honestly the anxiety that my phone is going to randomly cut me off again is driving me nuts, and I need to go and actually ask, how are other people recording like 1.5 hour long episodes of podcasts when my phone won't even do an hour? If you have any information regarding that, please do let me know. It would be great help. So I shall see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been useful. Thank you for listening to my rambling. It's really nice that you do. And I think that's all I've got to say for today. And you're very lucky that we didn't get interrupted by any dog barking activities. I really thought that might be a problem, but there we go, we got lucky. So I shall see you next time on the ECY Shedcast. Happy knitting and crocheting. Bye.